How are we doing, everyone? This is everything new I spotted in Ahsoka. This was definitely a series of quality over quantity, so instead of the usual breakdown videos, I'm going to condense it all into one. Starting with vehicles. So we see this transport vehicle on Corellia taking Hera and Ahsoka around, very similar to the kind of little rebel transport vehicles on Yavin 4, this one being driven by a droid, but it definitely seems to be a newer and different model to previous ones. And then this orange and yellow vehicle on Corellia, closer look at it there. This, I think, appeared in The Mandalorian, but we didn't really see it properly, so this is the first time we've seen this vehicle fully. Then the little pods used by the Noti on Peridia. I really like these vehicles. They've just got this really nice sort of slow, clunky style to them, and that fits with their sort of nomadic lifestyles at their homes and also vehicles, and you definitely got that sort of feeling with them, with their each got their own flavour with the improvised sort of antennas and things on the top. And these things are pretty tough. They can clearly take a beating as these raiders come in and are attacking them, and they can smash into each other without much damage and shrug off attacks initially until they get at the vulnerable engines. Be nice to know a bit more about them. Clearly they're using kind of repulsor lift technologies, but again, this is a completely different galaxy, so it would have been cool to know more. I do really like the way that they shut down and the way that they can sort of completely seal up, clearly sort of a defensive mechanism there. And then Starships. Now, we got really treated with Starships in this series. So first, here we have the Vesper, the new sort of New Republic cruiser. Really of this design. So this was designed by Benjamin Last, who based it off an unused concept by Joe Johnston for the Mon Calamari cruisers in Return of the Jedi, but just really like the size of it. We can see here a bunch of them being built on Corellia, and there they are as part of the fleet. We just got to see lots of really nice angles of this ship in different formations, but just really kind of makes sense for the New Republic. It's really nice kind of in between there, so it's not as big as Home 1 clearly there, but obviously bigger and beefier than the Nebulon Bs and the Corvettes. You can see them sort of working independently or being used as this little task force here that gets sent to Seatos. So just really like this design, and I hope we see more New Republic ships a bit like this, as well as this one that's clearly being mass produced from ex-Imperial parts. And then the E-Wing. I was so excited when we first got a glimpse of this in the trailers. So the E-Wing first appeared in the EU or Legends in Dark Empire as a sort of successor to the X-Wing, and it's just so cool to see it on screen again. Really cool design, just that classic kind of X-Wing vibes, but definitely its own thing, New Republic style, and I like that it's kind of the new and shiny Lothal that gets these fighters. My only regret is that we didn't get to see more of them, and this is the only shot we got, but hey, we've got E-Wings back in canon, and I'll be grateful for anything we get. Then we have Morgan Elspeth's ship, this kind of gold design with the big wings and the sort of the triangular shape. Always find the cockpit really interesting, see the way it seems to be sort of slotted into the rest of the ship, but yeah, just a really ostentatious design with all the gold, and I like here we see how the wings fold out as it exits the Eye of Sion. But yeah, I've got my theory around this ship is that the gold is some kind of Night Sister alchemy. Everything that's to do with Elspeth or the Night Sisters has gold in it. The Eye of Sion has gold in it. The Chimera has gold in it. And so I think it's maybe some kind of alchemy to strengthen and reinforce the metal, and maybe we'll see that pay off in future encounters. But yeah, just really cool and original design. It's not, it's not the folding wings Lambda-esque shuttle, so it's nice that it's familiar language, but definitely its own flavour in the Star Wars universe. Then we have Transport CT-05. This, well, I guess it's a New Republic transport, but it does kind of feel Imperial. But I guess it makes sense that it's ex-Imperial, so obviously able to haul some pretty heavy cargo and fairly well defended as well, with these double laser cannons at the back and also some lasers at the front. But perhaps that does make sense in universes if they're transporting valuable parts across the galaxy, you would want some kind of anti-piracy measures. But yeah, pretty cool design, and obviously the mechanisms there as it's able to lower the hyperdrive into place on the Eye of Sion. Then the Eye of Sion itself, again, a really cool design. Again, obviously, as was intended, evoking the idea of these, the hyperspace rings from the starfighters as we saw in the prequel trilogy, but just really, really imposing with its massive thing. And obviously we see the detail of the turbo lasers there, so that the thing can hold its own, as well as just being a transport mechanism. We're just, again, the sort of the gold detailing on it there, and clearly tying it to Elspeth and the Night Sisters. And then this gorgeous shot of it rising out of the clouds. We definitely got treated to some amazing visuals of the ships in this series. Like I say, there aren't as many as in other series. And then the hyperspace jump, just that really cool visual effect with the more rainbow blur than the traditional just blue and white. I thought that was just really fantastic visual, and just again, you see the power of it as it jumps through hyperspace. And then we see here how it docks with the Chimera. That was again really cool, just again reminiscent of the docking rings in the prequel trilogy. And then just seeing it blast off with the Chimera in tow was again an awesome moment, and obviously lots of tension there as it blasts off back to the galaxy we know, leaving Ahsoka behind as it lands here in orbit of Dathomir. Then we have the RP-82 Fiend starfighter. There's clearly two variants we see here up close and personal. We see Shin Hati's one with the longer wings and the sort of the blades on the wings, and then these smaller ones flown by the Elspeth's goons with the stubbier wings and the little ventral fin, but very clearly based around the same hull structure. So I would definitely argue that they're sort of variants of the same class. Maybe one's an RP-81 or something like that, I don't know. But very cool, very kind of big-nosed fighters, very compact, and definitely a nice to have another threat in addition to just TIE fighters, which we got later in the series. Just very cool. Obviously they can handle in Atmo as well as in space, and we do get some really nice little dogfights in this series. Then a few background ships on Corellia. Can't make many of them out, but I'm including them just for completeness sake, and the same here with this scene here on Coruscant. If you spot anything let me know. And then droids. First off, on the Vesper we have this red model, which I can't tell exactly, but I think it's the same as this model here we see on the E-Wing, which was based on the Kenner R2-D2 action figure. Then we have another sort of astromech here on the Vesper, this yellow one. I'm pretty sure this is based on the SK astromech that was introduced on Galactic Star Cruiser. There's some differences, so it might be like a previous model, but it's definitely shares a lot of design similarities. Then this little probe droid used by Shin Hati is pretty cool, but I've got to admit I wasn't a huge fan of this, because this scene just was very obviously repeating the Darth Maul probe scene from Phantom Menace, right down to sort of the audio effects. So it just kind of took me out of the moment personally, but at least it was a different design, that kind of big red eye instead of the sort of the black ball that Darth Maul had, so it had that going for it anyway. Then we have these navigation droids. There's two types here. We see these ones with the red eyes, but the body of both models seems pretty much identical from what I've seen. They have this kind of square patch on the back, but then there's differences in the head. So these ones have the sort of the red sort of Cylon type eye band. And then we have these ones, again, you can see on the back, they've got very similar, but they've got the three eyes and also the antenna coming out of the head, as they, guess, got a lot of input of data as they calculate these massive hyperspace routes. We also see that these droids operate as the pilots as well, both of the Eye of Sion and Elspeth's shuttle. Then on to creatures. We have the Howler. From Peridia, kind of a classic creature already. Really, I love the dog/horse combination as its a mount. But obviously very easily domesticated, as this one had been tamed by the Empire and then very quickly takes to Sabine as she rides off with it. They're obviously alert there. You can see the ears going and sniffing out signs of danger. And we see different variants there with Shin and Balin, different colours. I just love the personality of Sabine's one there, as he's all embarrassed and shy that he'd run off and then following her and coming back to her for attention. And I do love the animation of them, the faces with the long kind of slobbery tongues. And again, obviously quite an acute sense of smell, as fits the kind of dog type personas, as they're the ones able to sniff out the noti as they hide. Got a bit of a fearsome bark, but they're clearly easily tamed again. And we can see that when they're riding into battle, they're pretty fast and pretty fearless. Then this little bat bird type thing, can't really get a good look at it. And these little parasites here that are feasting off the remains of the Purrgil. And lastly, species. We get two. We get these raider type ones, kind of samurai inspired armor. We don't get a lot of info on them, but they're obviously humanoid, have this kind of barking language. They've obviously got blaster technology, but other than that, they're relatively primitive. We do get a slightly closer look at the leader. Can see that he has sort of human-like eyes, but also that they have this kind of pale looking skin, but we don't see much else about them. And the noti. So these little guys, I really like this species. I was hoping to get weird and wonderful with going to another galaxy, and as much as I'd have loved a whole load of weird, these guys definitely delivered it. These little sort of crab-like aliens with their little eye stalks, really cute, and their rock things. I'm assuming the rocks are something that they wear, given that they've got clothes on, and so I assume it's not part of their anatomy, but rather something that they've crafted as a disguise. But I just really like them, liked how expressive they are with their little crab-like hands. And again, here we see a lot of them popping up from their little shelters. And I love the detail of their village, this kind of like nomadic society, always ready to move on. Everything's kind of temporary, that they can quickly pack away into their little pods. You see a little infant one here as well with the slightly larger eyes. That was really cute, and you see them tinkering with their different technology. And I just loved this one, just completely useless with his catapult. And that is it. Thank you very much for watching, and may the Force be with you.